are the Ghostbusters Plasma Series, Venkman, Stanz, Spengler, and Zeddemore. Big thanks to Kal-El Collectibles for these lovely figures. And I thought, it best to just do all four of them together since, I really don't see the point in reviewing them one at a time because we're going to show them all off together as a team. Each of them share the same box, except, of course, the names are different, but each of the box has the side art. Together with Barrett and Gozer, the first wave of figures are going to have a Build-A-Figure piece, which will form Vince Clortho, the Keymaster, or that demon dog. And here are the Ghostbusters out of packaging. Peter Venkman, Ray Stanz, Egon Spengler, and Winston Zeddemore. I love this new line. I mean, it's not perfect. I do have some issues, but overall, I am generally pleased that we finally have a mass retail product that is very faithful to the movie. Let's start with the obvious things first. Now, each one of these figures comes with a Build-A-Figure piece. They each come with a limb, forelimb or hind limb of the demon dog. If you look closely at this ensemble, what really sells these figures are these unbelievably painted, unbelievably molded and sculpted head sculpts that we have of the actors playing the Ghostbusters. They share some body parts. Stanz, Venkman, and Zeddemore have the same legs and same arms. Venkman also has the same arms as everyone, at least from what I can tell. Same arms, same hands. But he's got different set of legs, and each one has a different set of torso and hips. So when you combine that, even if they have the same legs, it kind of feels that they're completely different molds. And I think the illusion that Hasbro made was absolutely spot on. So you come up with actually 4 different action figures, even if they had to recycle some parts. And obviously the head sculpts are different. Now each one comes with a proton pack that has the proton wand and this with the wire, the hose that connects the proton wand to the pack. The pack has a harness. Each one has a belt, which is sort of different for each one. For Venkman and for Spengler, I think they share the same belt with the hole right here. You can put the PK meter. Well, I'll explain that later. Stanz has a different one. It has a hook that can hang the goggles. Well, Zeddemore is just a plain one with no holes or no hook. So still, that slight nuance kind of gives you like a different, gives you a feel that it is a different figure. There are different figures, different molds from one another. Now, each one of the figure comes with a unique accessory that's only available for that figure. For instance, Venkman has the ghost trap. I'll show that more in a little while. Stanz has the goggles, the ecto goggles, which you can use to spot ghosts. Egon has the PKA meter, obviously. While Winston is the only one that has the stream, the proton stream for the wand. Let's start with Peter Venkman. As I mentioned earlier, he has the ghost trap. It's hollow, yeah, and it doesn't have that cord with the stepper to open it up. It doesn't open or anything like that. It's nicely painted, beautifully painted, if I may add, but it does nothing. It's just a solid brick that came with it, and there's no way to hang it on the proton pack. It's usually hung up here like that or something like that, but there's no way to do it. It's very still, it's very static. It's a shame. They could have done so much more with this particular piece, okay? And as I said, each of one of the Ghostbusters has the proton wand and pack, and you can actually hold, they can hold it with both hands like this as though they were zapping a ghost. And you can store it on the back just like in the movies. Now all of them share the same articulation, so we're going to do it with Venkman. Ball jointed neck. It's not the new one that we've seen in the Black series, that there's no joint at the base of the neck, but it's I feel it's like a double ball joint. There's a peg underneath. I don't want to try it out, but it does allow you to put the head in various poses. He's got a ball jointed upper torso, ball hinge shoulders with the butterfly joints. All figures have that in common because they share the same arm. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, ball hinge wrists, and the wrists go up and down so that they can hold the proton gun or the proton wand. Ball jointed hips, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, ball hinge ankles with the rocker pivot. A closer look at that Bill Murray head sculpt. It's absolutely gorgeous. It just kind of feels a little bit wide, but overall I like it. You get Venkman right there on his uniform. Now on to Ray Stanz. He probably has the biggest torso. For obvious reasons. That's how Dan Aykroyd was built in the movie. His head sculpt looking very good. It's just that I feel that the head sculpt is a lot closer to Ray Liotta than Dan Aykroyd. And then he has the goggles. The goggles, his hair is a little bit thick and big, so the way to put it on is you put it on the eyes first, and then you slide over that strap onto the back of the head, and there you go. It's just a shame that it's very difficult to put it. He's usually on his forehead like that, but it kind of looks weird if it's like that, so that's the best I could do with it. You could put it on his hair and then do it like this, but you're on the risk of breaking that strap. So best way to store this is not on his forehead, but on this hook that's on his pistol belt. So again, same proton pack, and same arm, same set of articulation. And now on to Egon Spengler. Oh, Harold Ramis's head sculpt. Absolutely gorgeous. I think he has the best head sculpt. He's the one that I think looks exactly like his actor, the actor that plays him on the show or on the movie. Right now, he's my favorite out of all the four. I really like him. He's got the most slender torso, and he's got the same proton pack and everything, has same articulation, and he's got this really tiny PKE meter. I wish they would have added a little bit more paint on it, just the lights. They painted it white like that, but as it is, that's what we get. You can also store this PKE meter just like on Venkman. There's a peg or like a lightsaber. You can hang it right there. Unfortunately, the antenna, it doesn't collapse or anything like that, so you run the risk of breaking that, so just be very, very careful with that. And now on to Winston Zeddemore. Wow, I love his head sculpt. My only issue with that head sculpt is I feel it's a little bit too small compared to the other figures. It's probably the smallest head sculpt. I wish they could have made it just a tad bit bigger. I remember Ernie Hudson's head was a little bit more elongated like that, but it's all good. And again, he is the only one. His accessories unique to him is this proton stream, which is a shame. I wish everybody had it, but it is a very, very good effect. It's made of a solid, very stiff type of clear plastic, much like what they use with lightsabers, and this soft PVC transparent electric lightning effect plastic on it. So the proton stream is not going to sag or tilt or anything like that because of the stiffness of this orange, this marmalade colored stream, and then there's this nice electric blast to go with it. I think Hasbro nailed it with this particular effect, and I absolutely love it. Now that we've had a lot of time to gush over these figures, let me just talk about some of the issues that I have. They're minor issues, they're not complete deal breakers for this line of Ghostbusters figures, but they are there, and I thought it best to discuss them so you can be forewarned and look out for them when you purchase these figures. First thing I want to talk about is the proton pack. It's exactly the same for everybody. It's the same size of harness, and the harness is near next to impossible to put on because it is only attached by this side. Everything else is whole. There's only one peg, one point of detachment. If you want to put on the proton pack, you'll have to remove this and then put it around his shoulders and his head and reattach it there, and it is a pain to do so. It's like once you've done that, you never take off that proton pack, and it is a very, very tight fit. It fits best with Egon for obvious reasons because he's the most slender one. There's a lot of clearance, a lot of space for that, and it is unbelievably difficult to put it on Ray. And as you can see like there, this thing is just the harness is really just about to cry right now because it is just being stretched out because of the torso of Ray Stanz, and I thought that was a little bit ridiculous that they didn't make a bigger type of harness that would fit that would give it more clearance for the torso of each of these figures. Okay, in terms of quality issues for the harness, what Hasbro did is they glued the harness pegs on to the slots of the proton pack. Now I'm going to show you very, very briefly. As you can see, the peg is kind of sticking out on this side and it's flush on the other side. When I opened this Peter Venkman proton pack, took him out of the packaging, the peg was glued on like that. And it was such a bummer. I mean, there was no way I could push it in or pull it out because it was glued on, super glued on. So what I did, I had to cut it with a box cutter and then push it back again so that it'll be flush. And it's the same for this bottom peg. It wasn't as flush. I mean, the dude manufacturing in the manufacturing line doing this, he has one job: just push it all the way in. And it was a very, very disappointing in terms of quality control. I mean, given the fact that this is their first run of Ghostbusters figures, much like maybe the issues we've seen with the Power Rangers, I mean, I wish they could have checked that a little bit more often. I'm sure it's an isolated case on mine because everybody knows how bad my luck is with Hasbro figures, but it's the same for the Winston Zeddemore figure. It's not as pressed as flush on the peg. I mean, it's a small matter, but I'm kind of picky with that. I'm kind of particular with that. It's just an eyesore if you display. I mean, kind of sticking out. The peg's kind of sticking out. So that's my issue with the proton pack. My next issue with the proton pack is only one figure has the proton stream. So how do you display them blasting the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man or crossing the streams when they're fighting Gozer? And you know what? I reckon when these figures go on clearance, everyone's going to go for the Winston Zeddemore figure. They're going to buy doubles, triples of this figure so that they can get the stream and put it on every one of these figures, which is a shame. I mean, I love the fact that Hasbro's trying to get you to buy all the figures by doing the Build-A-Figure method, much like what they did with the Marvel Legends. But this, I think they have to understand, the Ghostbusters, people are going to buy all 4 of them anyway. And my suggestion would be, instead of having each figure with a Build-A-Figure piece, give each one the stream, give each one a ghost trap with a stepper. That amount of plastic is much less than a Build-A-Figure piece. And, you know, in the movie, each proton pack was equipped with a ghost trap, and each proton pack should be able to shoot a proton stream. And if they wanted to sell the Demon Dog, they should have just put it in a 2-pack, a Demon Dog with Louis Tully, or another Demon Dog with Dana Barrett. I mean, I think that would have been the better way instead of this, because if they put a Build-A-Figure piece with these figures, they're going to scrimp on the accessories, which kind of... that's disservice to the fans. Most of the joints are pretty tight, except for Winston Zeddemore's left ankle. I think this is just me. I doubt this is a common issue. I think most likely, because of my bad luck with Hasbro, this is an isolated case, and the ankle is a little bit loose on my copy. It feels like it's been warped and it's too loose. Just wanted to mention that in case you have the same experience. And for size comparisons, if you wanted to know how these new Ghostbusters figures fared with the other properties of Hasbro, here is Egon with Marvel Legends Cyclops, and with the Black Series Obi-Wan Kenobi. So there you have it, folks. I hope you've enjoyed my little video review of these 4 Ghostbusters: Peter Venkman, Ray Stanz, Egon, Spengler, and Winston Zeddemore. This is a big step forward for the Ghostbusters franchise, and Hasbro has done a wonderful job with their first wave of figures. Now, admittedly, there are some minor issues with the accessories and the figures and all that, but I'm pretty sure it's a learning curve for Hasbro, and they will improve that with upcoming releases. Let me know what you think of these Ghostbusters figures from Hasbro. Hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my latest video reviews. If it's your first time on this channel, please subscribe. Thanks for watching.